The zipper of Madison's suitcase gave way with a ragged tear. Like the final snap of a heart under too much pressure. She froze, her manicured fingers hovering midair. The scent of Chanel No. 5 clashing with something sharper, sweat and fear. Then, from the depths of the leather abyss, a pair of trembling hands clawed at the fabric, and a girl no older than 17 spilled out onto the hotel carpet, gasping like she'd surfaced from drowning. Madison's scream lodged in her throat, a beauty vlogger's poise cracking like cheap foundation under stage lights. The Bellagio's suite, all marble floors and floor-to-ceiling views of the Vegas Strip's electric frenzy, suddenly felt like a trap. "What the? Oh my God, are you okay?" Madison stammered, dropping to her knees, her silk robe slipping off one shoulder. The girl, Eleanor as she'd gasp out later, curled into a ball, her dark hair matted, blue eyes darting like a cornered animal's. She was tiny, all sharp angles and faded jeans, a backpack strap still tangled around her wrist like a lifeline. I didn't mean to scare you," Eleanor whispered, her voice a fragile thread, accented faintly with the rolling vowels of someone who'd grown up chasing the sun across oceans. Spanish roots, Madison would learn. From a family in Andalusia who'd shipped her off to an aunt in Reno for straightening out. But right then it was just terror, raw and unfiltered, spilling across the room's opulent rug. Madison's mind raced faster than her subscriber notifications on launch day. She just wrapped a sponsored haul at the Cosmopolitan, her phone buzzing with comments. "Queen of glow-ups. That highlighter is life. But this was no filter, no script." "Hey, breathe," she said, inching closer, her voice dropping to the soothing lilt she used for anxious fans in live chats. "I'm Madison. You're safe here. Promise." Eleanor uncurled just enough to meet her gaze. Those blue eyes locking like puzzle pieces Madison didn't know were missing. "They'll find me," she murmured, glancing at the door as if it might burst open. "My family. They think I'm at a sleepover. If they knew." "Knew what?" Madison didn't press, not yet. Instead, she grabbed a bottled water from the minibar, twisting the cap with hands that had filmed 1,000 tutorials but never this. As Eleanor sipped, gulping like parched earth, Madison pieced it together from the fragments. A conservative clan in Seville, whispers of an arranged future with a cousin's son, and Eleanor's secret. A notebook of sketches, girls holding hands under olive trees, that her mother had found. "You're running," Madison said softly, not a question. Eleanor nodded, tears carving clean lines through the grime on her cheeks. "I hid in the airport shuttle. Thought Vegas was far enough. You're back. It smelled like freedom." Freedom. The word hung heavy, heavier than the diamond earrings dangling from Madison's lobes. At 28, Madison Harper was the epitome of curated escape. 2 million followers, brand deals stacking like poker chips, a life of pop-up shops and private jets. But beneath the highlighter and highlights, she was still the kid from Boise who'd come out in a whisper, her evangelical parents replying with silence that echoed louder than any coming-out video she'd scripted but never posted. That night, they talked until the Strip's lights blurred into dawn. Eleanor sketched on hotel stationery, quick lines of Madison's profile, fierce and kind, while Madison confessed her own ghosts. The ex who'd leaked her nudes for clout, the fear that one wrong post could topple her empire. By sunrise, with room service pancakes cooling untouched, something shifted. Eleanor's hand brushed Madison's over the sketch, lingering. No grand gesture, just warmth against the chill of what-ifs. But Vegas doesn't let secrets simmer. By noon, Madison's manager, Jax, a slick 30-something with a man bun and a Rolodex of influencers, pounded on the door. "Mots, spiel. Who's the mystery guest? We could spin this into gold. Vlogger rescues runaway muse, or some rom-com BS." Madison blocked the peephole, heart hammering. "Not happening, Jax. She's not content." He laughed, all teeth. "Everything's content, babe. Remember Tokyo? That accidental wardrobe malfunction got us Versace." Eleanor shrank back, and Madison's resolve hardened like setting spray. "Go chase a slot machine. We're good." They slipped out through the service elevator, Eleanor's backpack slung over Madison's shoulder like a shield. The desert heat slapped them as they hit the cab stand, Madison's credit card buying them a one-way to LAX. "Spain," Eleanor said, voice steady for the first time. "I have a friend in Malaga. Underground scene there, queer kids, artists. Safe. Spain." The word conjured flamenco and sun-bleached cliffs for Madison, but for Eleanor, it was home twisted into exile. As the plane lifted off, bound for Madrid with a connection south, Madison stared at the clouds, her hand finding Eleanor's under the armrest. "I've got your back," she whispered. "No cameras. Just us." What Madison didn't say was how Eleanor's sketches made her feel seen. Not as at Glow with Mats, but as the woman who'd cried in craft services vans, hiding her queerness behind blush brushes. And Eleanor? In Madison's orbit, she glimpsed a world where love wasn't a sin scrawled in scripture, but a quiet revolution. They landed in Madrid under a sky bruised purple, the air thick with jasmine and exhaust. Eleanor navigated the metro like a shadow, leading them to a hole-in-the-wall tapas bar near Puerta del Sol. Over greasy patatas bravas she opened up more. Her father's blacksmith shop in Seville, hammers ringing like judgments, her mother's rosaries, clicked in rhythm to please for normalcy. "I kissed a girl at a festival last summer," Eleanor admitted, cheeks flushing deeper than the sangria. "Under the fireworks. It was everything." Then they found the drawing. Madison reached across the scarred wooden table, tracing the veins in Eleanor's wrist. "Sounds like the start of a damn good story." Her thumb lingered, a question unspoken. Eleanor's answering squeeze was answer enough, tentative, electric. From Madrid they bussed south to Malaga, the Costa del Sol unfolding like a promise. Azure waves crashing against golden sands, whitewashed buildings climbing hills like defiant prayers. Eleanor's friend, Luca, a wiry painter with tattoos of interlocking Venus symbols, met them at the station in a battered Fiat. "Mi casa es tu casa," he said, clapping Eleanor on the back before eyeing Madison with a grin. "And who's the glamorous ghost? You look like you stepped off a billboard." Madison laughed it off, but inside the itch started. Her phone, silenced since Vegas, vibrated phantom alerts. What if Jax had spun tales? What if her followers smelled blood? Luca's flat was a riot of canvases and fairy lights, overlooking the port where freighters groaned like weary lovers. That first night, as paella simmered and reggaeton pulsed from a neighbor's window, Eleanor pulled Madison onto the tiny balcony. The sea breeze tangled their hair, salt-kissed and wild. "Thank you," Eleanor said, her face inches away, lit by the moon's silver edge. "For not leaving me in that bag." Madison cupped her cheek, thumb brushing a freckle. Wild horses couldn't. Their lips met then, soft, searching, like coming home to a place you'd only dreamed. No fireworks, just the steady burn of certainty. Eleanor's hands fisted in Madison's shirt, pulling her closer, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to breath and heartbeat. But dawn brought reality's bite. Madison's inbox overflowed. Jax's voicemails, a tabloid ping. Beauty guru's bizarre Vegas escapade. Human trafficking or hoax? And worst, a DM from her mother. Saw the headlines. "Praying for you, Madison. Come home." The word stung, a reminder of bridges burned long ago. Eleanor noticed the pallor in her face over café con leche. "We can turn it off. The world." Madison forced a smile, but the seed of doubt took root. "It's not that simple. My life's public." Luca, ever the mediator, suggested a road trip west, to Ronda, where the Puente Nuevo spanned a gorge like a scar over the earth. "Clear your heads," he said. "Spain heals what America breaks." They rented a Vespa. Eleanor's arms wrapped tight around Madison's waist as they wound through olive groves and cork oak forests. The wind whipped Eleanor's laughter free, and Madison felt it too. A loosening like shedding a too tight corset. In Ronda they hiked the cliffs, Eleanor's sketches filling a new journal. Madison against the Puente's stone, fierce profile etched in pencil strokes that captured the vulnerability she hid from lenses. One evening, picnicking on Manchego and Membrillo as the sun dipped into the gorge, Eleanor turned serious. "What if they come for me? My family, they have connections. Cops, priests. Honor isn't just a word there." Madison's jaw tightened. "Then we fight. Together." But even as she said it, her phone buzzed. A video call from Jax, his face pixelated but smug. She declined, but the damage lingered. Back in Malaga, the idol cracked. A letter arrived, slipped under Luca's door. Eleanor's name in her father's blocky script. "Return Hija, or we disown you forever." Inside, a photo, Eleanor's childhood home. The forge's anvil gleaming like a threat. Eleanor crumpled it, tears hot. I can't go back. But I can't lose them either. Madison held her through the sobs, rocking on the threadbare couch. You won't lose me. The words were vow and plea, but as Eleanor's breathing evened, Madison stared at her reflection in the darkened window. Beautiful, broken, wondering if love could outrun the spotlight. The days in Malaga blurred into a fragile rhythm. Mornings sketching on the beach, where waves lapped at Eleanor's toes like forgiving lovers. Afternoons lost in the Alcazaba's labyrinthine gardens, Madison's fingers tracing Eleanor's palm lines as if reading a future unwritten. Evenings belonged to the underground. Queer poetry slams in graffiti-tagged warehouses, where Eleanor read her verses in halting Spanish, voice gaining strength with each line about hidden gardens and stolen glances. Madison watched from the shadows, her heart swelling with a pride fiercer than any like count. But the letter's shadow lengthened. Eleanor's phone, a burner bought in Madrid, lit up with blocked numbers from Seville. They're tracing me, she confided one night. Curled against Madison in Luca's spare futon, the room scented with eucalyptus from the open window. Papa's not the type to let go. Madison kissed her forehead, tasting salt. Then we go deeper under.
Cabo de Gata, Wild Coast, no tourists.
Just us and the stars. The drive east was a revelation. Arid parks unfolding like ancient scrolls, volcanic rocks jagged against turquoise seas. They camped in a cove near Las Negras, a tent pitched under a canopy of Aleppo pines, fireflies dancing like errant thoughts. That night, as embers glowed, Eleanor unpacked her fears like stones from her pack. I always thought love would be easy, she said, poking the fire with a stick. Like in your videos, the before and after all glow and grace. But this, it's messy. Madison pulled her close, the crackle of flames underscoring her words. My glow-ups are edited, Elle. The real magic's in the mess. The late nights doubting, the courage to post anyway. She hesitated, then added, I haven't told you everything. Back in Boise, I dated a girl in secret. Senior year. When my parents found out, they sent me to conversion camp. 3 weeks of prayer sessions that felt like drowning. Eleanor's eyes widened, mirroring Madison's pain. How did you escape? I didn't, not really. I built walls, makeup, followers, the perfect feed. But you crawled through them. Their kiss deepened then, urgent yet tender, hands mapping familiar paths with new reverence. It was affirmation, not conquest, a quiet claiming amid the waves' roar. The next morning brought unwelcome company. A fisherman, grizzled and kind-eyed, rode up with fresh sardines, but his gaze lingered on Eleanor. You look like the girl from the posters, he said in lilting Andaluz. The lost one. Families offering reward. Eleanor's face drained of color. Madison paid double for the fish, herding them back to the Vespa. We move. Now. They fled north toward Granada's Alhambra, where Moorish arches whispered of empires risen and fallen. The city was a fever dream of tea houses and gypsy caves in Sacramento, but safety felt illusory. Madison's resolve frayed. She powered on her phone for the first time in weeks, emails cascading like accusations. Jax. Where the hell are you? Brands are pulling out. Runaway scandal is trending. Her mother. God forgives wanderers, Madison. But fame? It's the devil's mirror. Worse was the betrayal's first whisper. A Malaga contact, Luca's cousin, who'd crashed their first poetry night, damned Madison. Saw your girl on the news. Seville PD's involved. Thought you should know. But the timestamp? 2 days old. Why now? In Granada, they holed up in a renta near the Albayacin, white walls cool against the July scorch. Eleanor, sensing the storm, threw herself into art. Murals on abandoned walls, bold strokes of 2 women entwined in olive branches. Madison filmed none of it, but the itch grew, to capture, to control, to turn vulnerability into virality. One afternoon, wandering the labyrinthine streets, they stumbled into a hidden Zamba performance. Flamenco born in caves, raw and ritualistic. Eleanor's hand tightened in Madison's as the dancer stamped her anguish, skirt swirling like flames. That's us, Eleanor breathed. Dancing on the edge. After, in a shadowed tapas den, wine loosening tongues, Madison confessed the DM. Someone tipped them off. About you. Eleanor's fork clattered. Who? I don't know. But we can't stay. The flight response kicked in, But Granada held them a day longer, for the Alhambra's general life, where fountains sang of paradise lost. There, amid pomegranate trees heavy with fruit, Madison dropped to one knee. Not proposal but plea. Marry me? Not legally, not yet. But in our way. Vows under these arches against the world. Tears welled in Eleanor's eyes but joy flickered. Yes. God, yes. They exchanged rings, twisted wire from a street artisan, etched with Libra and Brave. Luca, summoned by frantic text, officiated with a grin and a guitar, strumming a bastardized "Here Comes the Bride" in minor key. It was makeshift sacred, a middle finger to bloodlines and algorithms. But joy's afterglow faded fast. That night, as they lay tangled in cotton sheets, a knock shattered the peace. Not police, Jacks in linen slacks and aviators smelling of duty-free scotch. "Mads, you ghosted me. For this." Madison bolted up, sheet clutched like armor. "How did you find us?" He shrugged, eyes sliding to Eleanor. "Luca said you needed intervention. I booked the flight." Betrayal hit like a gut punch. Eleanor shrank against the headboard, but Madison advanced, voice steel. "You sold us out. For what? A headline." Jax's laugh was hollow. "For you, idiot. Your channel's hemorrhaging. This lesbian odyssey. It's gold if we own it. Come back. We'll sanitize. Empowering escape. Sponsored by Dove or whoever." Eleanor slipped from the bed, grabbing her pack. "We're not your story." Jax's gaze sharpened. "Kid, you're a footnote. Mads is the star." The words ignited something primal. Madison shoved him toward the door. "Out. Now. And tell your tabloid vultures to back off." He left with a smirk, but the damage rooted deep. Eleanor paced, fury masking fear. "He knows where we are. They'll come." Madison pulled her into an embrace, but the warmth felt fractured. "We go to Seville. Face them. End this on our terms." Eleanor recoiled. "Seville? My cage. Your power. Show them the woman I love." It was madness, but love's logic defies maps. They drove south at dawn, the Sierra Nevada's peaks fading like forgotten dreams. Seville loomed, golden spires of the Giralda piercing a sky of unyielding blue. The Guadalquivir lazy and deceptively calm. Eleanor's family home was in Triana across the river. A narrow casa with iron balconies bursting geraniums, the forge's clang echoing from the courtyard. As they parked the rental, Madison's hand trembled in Eleanor's. "I'm with you." The door opened to her father's silhouette, broad as the anvil he wielded, face etched with forge lines and grief. "Elena," he rumbled, using her baptismal name like a chain. "It's Eleanor," she corrected, chin lifted. "And this is Madison. My partner." The word hung a gauntlet thrown. Her mother appeared behind, rosary beads clicking, eyes red-rimmed. "Hija, what madness! The shame." "No shame," Eleanor cut in, voice quavering but unbroken. "Just truth. I love her. Like I love the girl in the drawing. You can hate it, but you can't change me." Her father's fists clenched, but not in rage, in defeat. "We called the police. For your safety. Not to hurt." Madison stepped forward, her American bravado a shield. "She's safe with me. Safer than running, safer than hiding." The standoff stretched, air thick as summer storm. Then a crack, her mother's sob, hand extended not in rebuke but reach. "Stay. Talk. Please." They did for hours over cold gazpacho and halting words. Stories spilled. Madison's camp scars, Eleanor's festival kiss, the suitcase's desperation. No miracles, but fractures mended enough for tentative peace. "We'll try," her father grunted finally. "For you." As night fell, Seville's bridges lit like veins of light. Madison and Eleanor walked the riverbank. "You were brave," Madison murmured. "We were." Eleanor's smile was weary, wondrous. But Madison's phone, silenced again, held the storm's next gust. Seville's fragile truce held through a week of guarded meals and awkward silences. Eleanor's sketches softening the walls. Portraits of her mother mid-prayer, tender rather than accusatory. Madison played the outsider's role to perfection. Charming over cocinillo asado, sharing YouTube war stories that drew reluctant laughs from her father, Tomas. "You make women beautiful," he'd gruffly ask. "And brave." Madison would nod, eyes on Eleanor. who bloomed under the tentative acceptance, her laughter ringing freer each day. But the world outside churned. Jax's silence was a siren, and when Madison finally answered his call from a Triana cafe, his tone was venom. You think Seville's your fairy tale? Check TMZ. The article hit like shrapnel. Vlogger's secret Spanish sojourn. Faking a fleece for views? Grainy photos, their Granada ring exchange, Luca's grin blurred but identifiable, paired with Jax's anonymous quotes. Madison's always been dramatic. This rescue smells staged. Below, comments lacerated. Predatory much? Grooming a minor. Fake queer for clout classic. Madison's stomach plummeted. He twisted it. Us. Eleanor, peering over her shoulder, paled. The rings. How? Luca, Madison whispered, the name a betrayal's echo. But Luca swore innocence over frantic WhatsApp, forwarding his own hate mail. Some waiter from the Zambra sold pics to the highest bidder. The double-cross stung, but Jax's hand was evident. His Rolodex, his spin. Madison's brand teetered. Sponsors ghosting, followers unfollowing in waves. Her mother's text from Boise resumed. Told you fame corrupts. Come home clean. Irony bit deep. The woman who'd prayed away her daughter's truth now preached purity. Eleanor, sensing the unravel, suggested escape. Not flight but confrontation. Call him out. Your platform, use it for truth. Madison hesitated. Vulnerability was her kryptonite. Every tutorial masked it. But Eleanor's blue eyes, steady as the Guadalquivir, pulled the trigger. That night in her childhood room, posters of Frida Kahlo curling at edges, Madison hit record. No makeup, just raw light from a bedside lamp. Hey glow-getters, she began, voice cracking. This isn't a glow-up. It's a breakdown. Meet Eleanor. Not a prop but my heart. The video poured out. The suitcase, the sketches, the rings under Alhambra arches. No filters, no sponsors, just love laid bare. Betrayal hurts, she said, glancing at Eleanor off-camera. From managers, from family, from the machine. But standing here, with her, that's the real transformation. It posted at 2 a.m. Seville time, exploding by dawn. 1 million views, comments shifting from vitriol to vigils. Finally real mats. Shipping this harder than any haul. But backlash roared too, trolls dredging her past, outing old flings, questioning Eleanor's age like vultures. Tomas, overhearing the laptop's chime, entered with coffee. You fight dirty, he said, not unkindly. Like in the forge. Heat bends but doesn't break. His approval, gruff as gravel, anchored her. Yet the toll mounted. Eleanor withdrew, sketches turning somber. Gorgeous swallowing figures, bridges mid-collapse. They're saying I'm a kid. That you took advantage. Madison's arms enveloped her. Screw them. You're 17 going on eternal. And I'm 28, wiser for it. But doubt crept, insidious. Jax escalated, leaking exclusives to Perez Hilton. Madison's camp journals scanned and savage. She knows pain. Boo-hoo. Now she's peddling it for pity points. The narrative flipped, hero to hustler, and Madison's empire crumbled. Brands bailed, her agent quit via email. Protecting my rep. Financial freefall loomed. The rental due, flights home unaffordable. Tomas offered the forge's spare room, but pride chafed. We're not burdens, Madison insisted, though Eleanor's flinch said otherwise. Climax brewed on Feria de Abril's Eve. Seville streets alive with casetas and canas, polka dot dresses swirling like confetti storms. Eleanor, in a borrowed flamenco frock, red as revolution, begged Madison to join. Dance with me. Claim the night. The fairground pulsed. Lanterns swaying, sevillanas stomping in joyous defiance. They twirled amid the throng, Eleanor's laughter a bomb, Madison's steps sinking to her heartbeat. For an hour the world receded. No trolls, no tabloids, just skirt hems brushing and palms clapping in rhythm. Then the shatter. Jax materialized at the caseta's edge, champagne flute in hand, a local fixer at his elbow. Mads, the prodigal returns. His eyes raked Eleanor, proprietary. Brought the muse? We've got a deal, Netflix doc. Your story, my script. Million. Eleanor's grip bruised. Our story. Not yours. Jax leaned in, breath sour. Kid, without me, it's just a sad little escape. With me. Legacy. Madison's vision tunneled. You leaked the journals. The photos. For this. He shrugged. Unrepentant. Business, babe. You were coasting on cute. This? Drama sells. The fixer, a squat man with a Federico Garcia Lorca mustache, muttered in Spanish, nodding at Eleanor. The family's waiting. Rewards triple now. Tomas appeared then, forged calloused hand on his daughter's shoulder, a crowd of Triana kin fanning out like a wall. Enough, he boomed, voice carrying over the guitars. This is our blood. Our home. Jack sneered. Blood? She's a hashtag. And you, to Madison, you're done. I own your narrative. The lie ignited. Madison lunged, not with fists but words, voice amplified by fury. You own nothing. I built this, from Boise basements to Vegas vices. And Eleanor? She's the plot twist you can't script. She turned to the gathering crowd, phones already out. Watch this. In a blaze of impulse, she pulled Eleanor into a kiss, fierce, unapologetic, under the Faria's lanterns. Gasps rippled, then cheers. Sevillana's paused, applause swelling. Jax's face twisted, the fixer slunk back. Tomas watched stone still, then miracle of miracles clapped once slow. But victory's edge cut. As Jack stormed off, vowing lawsuits, Eleanor's eyes brimmed. They filmed us. Again. Madison deflated. I know. But this time it's ours. The night unraveled in aftershocks. Tomas inviting Madison for a post-Faria brandy, his toast gruff. To bridges, not walls. Her mother, Sophia, slipping Eleanor a locket. For the girl who sees colors I missed. Whispers of acceptance, embryonic but real. Yet dawn brought the deluge. Madison's video hit viral zenith. 10 million views. But so did the countersuit from Jax. Defamation, breach of contract. Her accounts froze pending review, leaving them stranded. Eleanor's family, emboldened by the Faria standoff, urged return. Stay. Forge your path here. Madison, staring at the Giralda's weather vane spinning wild, felt the pull. America's siren call of reinvention versus Spain's soil-deep roots. What do we choose? She asked Eleanor, hands entwined on the balcony. You, Eleanor whispered. Always. But choice demanded sacrifice, and the blade hovered sharp. The lawsuit landed like a guillotine. Jax's filing, dense legalese from a LA firm, demanding royalties on exploited IP. Every post, every kiss since Vegas. Madison's lawyer, a harried Zoom from Boise, advised settlement. Cave or you're bankrupt by Christmas. Her channel, demonetized, echoed hollow. Followers pledged support via GoFundMe, but pennies against the tide. Eleanor watched her unravel. Knights pacing the forge's courtyard. Anvil's shadow mocking her impotence. Fight him, she urged, sketching Jax as a cartoon vulture. Beak dripping ink. You're Madison Harper. Glow through the garbage. But glow dimmed. Sophia, sensing fracture, drew Madison into the kitchen one humid afternoon. Hands flour-dusted from kneading dough. My Elena Eleanor, she's fire like Triana's old flamenco queens. Burns bright but needs bellows. Her eyes, lined with laugh and loss, softened. You are her bellows? Madison nodded, throat tight. Trying. But my world's poison. Sophia's laugh was rueful. Worlds collide, Mija. Like rivers into sea. You learn to swim. The wisdom stuck, propelling Madison to counter. A live stream from the Giralda's base, Eleanor at her side. Jax thinks he owns us, she said to the camera, unflinching. But stories aren't contracts. They're souls. Eleanor added her voice, sketches projected behind. This is us, messy mighty. Not for sale. The stream surged, allies emerging. Queer creators crowdfunding legal fees. Brands pivoting to authenticity endorsements. Even her mother called, voice quavering. Saw the video. Proud Madison. Finally. Climax crested in court. Not LA's glare, but Seville's understated sala, where Jax flew in, suit crisp as his conscience wasn't. The judge, a stern woman with a rainbow pin discreet on her lapel, heard arguments. Jax's IP theft. Madison's defamation counters. Eleanor's affidavit painting the suitcase's truth. As Jax testified, smirking, spinning Vegas as stunt. Eleanor rose unbidden. Senor, she interrupted, Spanish fluid. You call it stunt. I call it salvation. Her words flowed. The crawl from darkness, Madison's hand extended. She didn't script me. She saw me. The room hushed. Jax shifted, sweat beading. Madison's testimony followed, raw, Boise-bred honesty. I built walls for survival. She tore them down. That's not content. That's conversion, the real kind. The judge ruled swift. Jax's claims dismissed. Counters upheld with injunction. Exploitation ends here, she decreed. Cheers erupted outside, Triana's kin Luca via video, even Boise friends who'd flown in. But victory's confetti masked the cost. Jax slunk back to LA, career scorched, but whispers lingered. Trolls hacking Madison's remnants, Eleanor's school deferral denied by scandal. Normal's overrated, she quipped, but her sketches darkened, gorges deeper. The true apex came not in court, but quiet post-verdict, atop the metropole parasol's honeycomb shade. Seville sprawling below like a lover's sprawl. Madison and Eleanor sat, legs dangling, rings glinting. What now? Madison asked, wind teasing her hair. Eleanor's hand found hers. Home. But which? The question birthed the endgame. Madison shuddered at glow with mats, archiving videos as chapter closed. She pitched a pivot. Co-authored book, Eleanor illustrating Suitcase Souls, A Love in Hiding. Publisher's bit, advances bridging the gap. Eleanor's choice anchored. Here. With them. But you, your roots call. Tears pricked. Roots can transplant. Boise felt distant, but Spain? It had forged them literally in Tomas's anvil sparks. Betrayal's scar healed uneven. Jax's apology email deleted unread. Luca's cousin, shunned but forgiven in Eleanor's mercy. Humanistic grace, not grudge. Months later, autumn gilding the Guadalquivir, they stood in Triana's courtyard. Madison, hair cropped short like Eleanor's, filmed no more, but taught. Workshops in the forge. Makeup as armor. Queer youth learning blush as battle paint. Eleanor led drawing circles, lines weaving stories unspoken. Tomas hammered nearby, rhythm approving. Sophia hung laundry, humming boleros. You stayed, she said to Madison, embracing. Couldn't leave the fire. Eleanor's graduation, delayed but defiant, drew a crowd. Luca's murals, Boise kin via stream, even the Feria dancer who'd witnessed their kiss. Diplomas in hand, Eleanor pulled Madison on stage, impromptu vows renewed. Through suitcases and scandals, I choose you. The crowd hooped. Madison's kiss sealed it, cameras flashing, not tabloid but family. In quiet aftermath, as stars pricked Seville's velvet sky, Madison traced Eleanor's freckles. Happy ending? Eleanor smiled, wise beyond years. Endings are illusions. We're just beginning. And in that love's quiet revolution, they found their glow, unfiltered, eternal. Epilogue whispers. The book top charts, a foundation born, suitcase safe houses for runaways, Vegas to Andalusia. Madison's mother visited, rosary pocketed, hugs tentative but thawing. Betrayals faded to footnotes, conflicts to catalysts. In Spain's sun-warmed embrace, two women built not walls but worlds, human, heartfelt, wholly theirs.